Okay. Heavenly Father, help us to conduct business in the best interest of the people of our county. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get underway. If there's any audio problems on our end, just shoot me a note or something. We'll move on to
Roll call.
roll call, please.
Thompson.
Here.
Small.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Drummond.
Here.
Gothier.
Here. I'll accept the motion to approve the minutes from the February 3rd, 2021 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Brady.
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Drummond.
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Public comment time, limited to 3 minutes per person.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mike Maturin with Catholic Human Services.
Yes, Mike.
I just wanted to update the Board of Commissioners on what we've been doing in the county as far as prevention of alcohol and substance use in the area. Of course, it's been a little difficult with the pandemic, not being able to be face-to-face. However, we've done a lot of things online. I am now teaching a class twice a month called Crime for Life. Right now we're teaching for adolescents who are either in the juvenile system for substance use or who are being referred by schools or parents. So we've been doing that. We are also now offering to the school a program called Vape Educate online for those kids that have been caught using vape pens at school. So that's available. And also we have started a YouTube channel called Up North Prevention. And we are releasing videos consistently throughout the month, talking about various topics having to do with substance use, vaping, how to talk to your kids about drugs is the one I just released today. So I'd encourage everyone to take a few minutes and check out the videos and share the channel with anyone you think might be interested. Again, it's on YouTube and it's Up North Prevention. So we're going to continue to work as hard as we can till this pandemic is over and we can get face-to-face and back in the schools and in the community again. I'm going to be doing a town hall coming up. I don't have a date or time yet, but I'll let everyone know about that as soon as I can. And we're also going to be addressing suicide as well, because that's an ongoing problem throughout the pandemic. So if there's any questions, you guys can contact me. I'd be happy to chat with you.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Any other public comment?
Oh.
If there's something wrong with your audio, and you do want to talk to, get your message in, call the courthouse and have them forward you down to the commissioners and we'll talk to you for sure. Oh, we got a connecting to audio. Okay, anyway, so moving on. We have a couple presentations. Well, one presentation, but it's not until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So
You want to put Nico there?
but well, do you want to do that at the same time as in business or?
I don't care. Oh, I see. You got it down
Yeah.
there. Okay.
We do have to add to new business though. At 4 p.m. we're also having our hazard mitigation public hearing. Anything else we need to add?
You say something about NEMCOG something?
That well, and that's going to show up here in the
Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Parks and Rec on the unfinished.
Lady who's going to be speaking with us on the hazard mitigation is Christine McEmber, M-C-E-M-B-E-R.
Christine McEmber.
Christina McEmber, M-C-E-M-B-E-R. No guarantee I'm pronouncing it correctly.
All right, so on to unfinished business. the DHS board vacancy appointment.
Mr. Chairman, it gives me great pleasure to recommend and the appointment of Mike Maturin to our DHHS board.
All right, so Mike Maturin is being recommended by Carolyn. Is that a motion?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Motion and support. Any other comments or conversation regarding Mike Maturin? Hearing none, let's have a roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes,
Brumman,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
motion passes. Congratulations, Mike. I'm sure you do a great job.
You will.
Next item in unfinished business is Brownfield.
Everything under? No.
Yeah, why is this still unfinished? I thought we wrapped that up.
I think it has been.
Well, I thought I had all my information posted and ready to go. Carolyn, did you have something to do with?
No,
Talk about that
I
today?
thought, when I saw that, I thought that it was the adjustment of their budget with the increase of, I believe, $25,000 or $35,000, but I don't remember the exact amount.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, we have to approve the budget for 2021, but
We haven't got there yet.
yeah, and this is, so we'll have to kick this can down the road a little further because finance has not gotten into 2021 budget enough to be able to speak intelligently.
And it
about
goes
the
back
money.
to 2020 because I believe the grant modification was in 2020, in the first quarter of, in the state's first quarter, which would have been October, November, December. I haven't been on top of that. I mean, you know,
I'm not positive about that either, but
I'm not either, but.
I
but
do know it
anyway,
was for 2021, so.
Yeah, it will affect 2021. That's
So like I said, that can, we'll kick her down the road until we get further in the 2021 budget. Next item, Parks and Rec and our rec plan. Nico Tucker, would you like to talk to us a little bit about the work you've been doing on the rec plan?
Yes, that would be fine. How are you doing?
Good.
So we've started it a couple times, but we need to get some survey answers. And I see they're going up a little bit, but I thought I would try and just explain the general process that we have to follow according to the DNR to get your rec plan approved. So in doing your rec plan, you have to have two forms of public involvement at a minimum. One is set in stone. That's a public hearing at the end of the process, right before you get formally. You have to have that. The other one is kind of up to you. You know, you can have a meeting, kind of a town hall type meeting. You can do an online survey. We usually choose to do an online survey. Sometimes we'll follow it up with a meeting as well, but in this instance, it's probably the easiest thing just to go with the online survey. So that's what we've done. It's been active for a while now. Right now, I think you have about 30 responses, which isn't too bad. You know, it'd be nice to get some more. So, you know, anything you can do to kind of promote that survey, get people to go to the link and take the survey. You know, it's best if they take it online. It just makes it easier on my part to download and analyze the results than having to sit and input a bunch of answers that come from a paper survey. It just saves a lot of time. In the meantime, while that survey is still out there and active, what the board can kind of do is go through your existing plan and mark it up, provide me with any comments of things you feel need to change in it. And then opening your plan here. I don't know if you have copies in front of you or not.
Yeah, we do, Nico. I made copies for everybody.
Okay. You know, what you look at is, you know, chapter 1, a lot of that information doesn't change a whole lot, but take a look through chapter 1 and provide me with any comments. Kind of the same thing with chapter 2. There's usually not a ton of information that changes there, but take a look, make sure everything's still correct. As part of chapter 2, I will need a copy of the budget for the county. And if you have a completely separate budget for just Parks and Recreation, you can send that. If not, if it's kind of just a line item in your overall budget, I have to send your overall budget and it gets put into the plan. And really the DNR is just looking to see that you have money put aside to maintain any parks and recreation facilities that they give you a grant to develop. One big thing in there, I guess, in chapter 2 is any recreation programming you have. So if the county at any of your parks puts on events or does anything like that, that's information that's good to put in the plan. Also, relationships with other agencies or partnerships that you have with other agencies is something that's in there, and those do change over time. So any comments you can provide on that. The big chapter to look at right now is chapter 3. That's your recreation inventory. And it's not just what Alcona County owns. You're looking at everything in the county and kind of the surrounding area. So obviously, most important, your sites you own first, and then everything surrounding you. And a lot of it should be fairly up to date. It would have been pulled from the various township plans that we've done over the years, so it's not too bad. Especially part of it is private recreation. So if you can look through at that, and things close, businesses go out of business. Take a look at that. Give me any comments. Chapter 4 is the planning process. You don't really need to look at that a whole lot right now. That's, it's chapters there. I'm actually going to delete a bunch of it. And as we work through the process, that chapter kind of gets filled in. That just kind of explains the schedule of what we did. When you posted the survey, when you closed the survey, when you had various meetings, when you adopted the plan at your final meeting. So that one will kind of go. That one will be completed as we move along, I guess. Chapter 5, the goals and objectives. It'd be good to take a look at those now. Those are the things you want to accomplish over the next 5 years for Parks and Recreation in Alcona County. But keep in mind, you're going to want to review those in more detail once we close the online survey. So we will. My thought, I guess, was maybe leave the survey open until the end of March. I'm open to any comments from you if you think a different time frame is better. Once we close the survey, I would download the results and kind of put them into some nice graphs and stuff like that and send it to you for review. And that's where you're going to want to go through those, look at the results, look at the comments people have left, and kind of base your goals and objectives for your recreation plan off that survey. If a whole bunch of people provide comments stating they really wish there was an ice rink somewhere, that might become a goal, is to look at where can you put an ice rink in the community. So once you kind of work through that process, I'll have another draft plan put together. Then you're required to do a 30-day public review. So we would post the draft plan, probably on like the Alcona County website. NEMCOG will put it on its website. We usually like to have a hard copy, at the clerk's office or at the library, something like that, so we can put in the notice. We have to put a notice in the paper that it's available for 30 days. It kind of just sits there. You take any public comment on it. Once that 30-day review period is completed, we can move into adopting the plan. As part of that, you're going to have a public hearing. It's perfectly fine if the public hearing is actually a part of your county board meeting or a planning commission meeting, anything like that. It can be a separate meeting. It's kind of depends on how you would like to do it. I guess the only requirement is if you do it as part of your regular board meeting, it just has to be a specific agenda item stating public hearing for recreation plan. You would have to formally recess your meeting, go into your public hearing at that point. Following the public hearing, you just pass a resolution adopting the plan and you're done. So I don't know if anyone has any questions about the general process.
Well, once that resolution's passed, Nico, then it goes to the DNR for their approval?
Yes, it would get sent to the DNR and they review it and approve it, or they will not approve it and provide us a list of what they think it needs to be approved.
And our goal is to have this to them by 1st of December or earlier, or?
Really, we can do it anytime. They have no requirement about when you submit a plan, other than if you plan to apply for a grant, you have to have it submitted by April or by February 1st. Obviously, we're not going to make that fast.
So anytime we can get it done this year,
yes.
we're happy with it, pass the resolution, then get it to them for their approval. So,
Yes.
okay.
They're usually pretty quick about getting them approved. Usually within a week, we have an answer back. We've never really had any that weren't approved for any reason, so.
And the real, so everybody knows, the real reason for the county to put a rec plan together is so that any entity within the county that wants to apply for grant monies through the DNR, we need to have a rec plan in place. Is that correct?
If the county wants to apply, you have to have a rec plan to apply for any recreation grants. If any of the townships want to, they have to have their own rec plan, or they have to be a part of this process.
Okay.
You'd have to work through this process with us and formally adopt it as well, if they want to use yours. I think the townships have their own.
Okay.
I know the city of Harrisville Township, Alcona and Caledonia all have their own. I think a few of the other ones do as well. I know the village of Lincoln does. So
Can you get us a list or email us a list of who has within Alcona County has rec plans in place?
I'm trying to think if I can look that up on rec grants or not. I can tell you the ones I know, I guess. I can't tell if I didn't work with the community to do a rec plan, I might not know about it.
Okay.
You could all contact your townships.
Yeah, right. Ask the townships too.
Yep, we can ask the townships. I can email the grant coordinator and ask if she has a list that she can give me.
Okay. Nick, did you want to touch base on those two items that the DNR let you know about that need to be cleared up within the county?
Yep. I wanted to note a couple things. The first one is the DNR does everything electronically now. So to submit your rec plan, you have to submit it through their My Rec Grant system. You will need an account there. And I think Alcona County already has an account, but I don't know, I don't know who would have the username and password for it. So that may take a little digging on your part to figure that one out and get control of that account. Once you do that, if you can figure that out, you can actually go in and add me as a consultant. And that way I can take care of uploading the plan and everything for you and have it ready. Once it's all completed in a final document, I can upload it for you. I think that was about it there. So yeah, I guess we'll kind of go into the issue with a couple of the parks. As part of the recreation planning process, you have to fill out what are called the post-completion certification forms. And that's looking at all the previous grants we've received in the past, and you fill out a little form. You know, is this park still an active park? You have to take pictures. Is there a program recognition plan there? Stuff like that. In the last time we attempted to do the plan, we found an issue with a couple, and that is, start with the easy one first. The Harrisville Township Recreation Area, that was originally a county recreation area. The county purchased it and operated it and developed it using a bond fund grant, which is a form of a recreation grant through the DNR. You've since transferred ownership and maintenance of that park to the township. Right now, as far as the DNR is concerned, that's an illegal transfer. It can be easily addressed because it's still a park. It's not like you sold it to a business or a private owner, but you just have to go through the formal steps with the DNR to demonstrate that the township now owns it and maintains it. It's still an active park, and that they're willing to accept the encumbrance on the deed of the property based on receiving recreation grants in the past. So, there'll be like a formal letter from the county to the DNR. You'll have to pass a resolution stating that you're transferring it, ownership and maintenance of this, to Harrisville Township. Harrisville Township will have to pass a resolution stating that they're accepting the ownership and maintenance of this park, and that they accept the fact that the deed is forever encumbered by the fact that it received recreation grant funding in the past. Until you do that, you're not actually eligible to apply for recreation grants. I did talk to the grant coordinator, and she said you may be able to apply. She's put a note, that there was 2 transfers, and she is aware of them, and she knows we've demonstrated they are still parks, but she can't guarantee that her bosses would approve you applying for a grant. That's one of the first questions on the grant applications is, have you had any illegal transfers? And you have to check, yes, you've had 2. So, like I said, the Harrisville Township one isn't too big of a deal to deal with. That shouldn't take too long. The other one is Alcona County Park. That was originally owned and operated by the county. And now Curtis Township operates it. This one gets a little more difficult in that it was a land and water conservation fund grant, which is federal funding. So now the National Park Service has to be involved, and there's a whole lot more steps. One of the big steps is they want a map that details the overall boundaries of the property, the boundaries of the park, any leases, easements, anything on it, all have to be mapped out. Several years ago, NEMCOG started compiling that information to work through it, and it's like 30 pages of various deeds and leases and easements. So I've sent an email to the grant coordinator at the DNR. She can't fully answer my question. She has to go to the Park Service, but we're kind of waiting on that process. Whether I can just map the park or whether everything has to be mapped, because as you know, a lot of that property out there is owned by Consumers Energy. And then it's leased, originally to the county, now to the township as the park. And then there's easements through the various areas. So the Consumers Energy deeds describe not just the park, but they describe like 20,000 acres. And then there's a lease for the park property, but then there's easements across those leases for Consumers Energy. So if all of that has to be mapped out specifically, then, I might have 2 or 3 days or more just in creating the maps if I were to do it. Which kind of brings up another issue of, we started this process of the recreation plan in 2016, I think, and it kind of fell apart. So the funding, the money you provided to NEMCOG on a contract has long run out to do this plan. So we're sort of doing it pro bono. I spoke with Diane today, and I'm sure there's the EDA COVID grant that's bringing money to all the counties to assist with completing some of these projects like that. So we can utilize some of that funding for my time to get through with your plan, make sure it's done and it's adopted and approved by the DNR. And helping with the Harrisville Township won't be a problem. That one shouldn't take more than a couple hours, really, other than time for you guys to go to your respective boards and pass a resolution and stuff. I don't know how much time I would have and be able to put towards mapping of that Alcona Park issue if we have to do some extensive maps of the entire bit of property. And like I said, I might have several days in doing that. So we might have to look to if there's anyone in the county that can take over and do that.
So you've got an email out right now trying to get an answer on that, right?
Yes, I emailed the grant coordinator and asked if she would get me some specifics on exactly what needs to be mapped. But right now it says it must be a boundary maps showing the boundary of all property, any leases, easements, or encumbrances is what it says, I believe. So the deeds describe basically all of the property that consumers owns all the way around the Alcona Pond. And a little downstream. So it would just take a while to go through and map that out. I was hoping that she would come back and say, if you can just show the boundaries of the park and any easements that go across the park. That would cut out a lot of work. It's really specific. It's got to show the boundaries of everything. Then what is it? Like easements have to be in green. Any encumbrances have to be in red. Something like that. It's really specific on the requirements of the map.
Okay.
The other thing I'm going to do is just email her and ask if she will send me some sort of sample resolution that you can use. And actually, for you in Harrisville Township to pass to taking care of that transfer.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So, I'm sure this isn't the first time statewide this has ever happened. I know there's other instances where parks have been transferred to another entity to run. So.
Okay, so looks like we got some homework to do as well. All right. Is there anything else, Nico?
Nothing off the top of my head right now. Like I said, the biggest thing would be right now to make a push and try and get as many responses to that survey as we can. We can get away with 30. They probably wouldn't question that. But for a countywide plan, that's not a lot of responses. So it'd be good to get more if we can.
Well, yeah, I know we're getting it out to our townships. Like I told you, I talked to Dan O'Connor, our superintendent of schools, and he's going to get it out to students and teachers and everybody he can over there. Hopefully we can get a lot of our employees here to fill it out. I mean, it's not hard to do.
No.
But we're trying to push for as many as we can.
Yeah, that would definitely be good. One, it helps you decide what you want to do for goals and objectives, but it looks good to the DNR that you pushed hard and tried to get as many responses as you can. The one thing I will need, anything any way you promote the survey, I have to be able to document it to put it in the plan in that, in chapter 4, that planning process. I have to show that you did it. So if you put a notice in the paper, so if they send you like an affidavit of publication, send that to me. If not, if you know what date it was in the paper, I can log in and download it. And I just put a clip of it in there. If you post something like right on the Alcona County website on the homepage or something, just let me know. I can go and do a screenshot of it and put it in the plan just to show how it was published.
I know the surveys are on our website right now, so.
Okay. I will find that and do a screenshot then to document that. It is good.
It also,
Paper.
Nico, it also went out on the Cedar Lake, the Alcona Iosco Cedar Lake Association on their site also.
On our website or?
Yeah. It's on their page. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I will dig around and see if I can find it. And if not, maybe
I'll get it to you.
Email Dan. Yeah.
I'll
If you
get it
send
to
me
you.
the link where it's at, I will do a screenshot of that. I sent Dan a press release to put in the paper. You might even want to think again, maybe like the 1st of March, to put that in the paper again. Maybe we'll get some extra people to respond that way. Like I said, each time, just let me know what you did and how, so I can document it in some way to put in the plan.
Are the two park transfer issues, or do these need to be cleaned up before we can adopt the plan? Is it contingent, or is this something we just need to get done?
They need to get done. It shouldn't stop you, it definitely won't stop you from adopting your plan. It should not stop it from being approved, simply because we've already made the grant coordinator that's going to review your plan aware of it.
Okay.
I've assured her that, yes, they are still parks. They're actually still very popular parks in the community. They're just being maintained by another entity now.
Okay. All right. Is there any more questions for Nico?
No, we're good.
Does anybody want to make a motion to run the press release? Or do we wait till March 1st to do that?
Yeah, well,
You can just do
We can
yeah,
do
we
it.
need to do it, yeah.
Just do it.
So what weeks would we consider doing that for?
Well, let's put it out, let's get it out in the 18th, 20th, let's get it out for the first week of March.
So post it in the 20,
She would have to have it in next,
Or do we want to do it like next week, skip
And
a
the
week,
week.
and then
yeah,
a week?
yeah,
so the 24th and the 10th?
yeah.
So 2/24.
I'll make a motion that we put a press release out on February the 24th and then March the 10th.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
So Dan, you can forward that to
Yep.
Stephanie. So Nico, we're gonna run those, and but you do need the affidavit of publish or whatever.
Yeah.
If you get an affidavit of publication, that's great. If not, just let me know the date that it went in the paper. We
Okay,
have an
well, those-
account, I can log in and actually download the paper and clip it out from there.
Oh, okay. Well, we plan to run it for the 24th and the edition and the 10th. So
Okay.
Nico, does the invoice for payment of that, will that suffice? Is that,
he said if he just knows the dates, he can download the paper and take a screenshot of that.
well, what if we just,
They actually have to see the notice or the press release that's in the paper. So
Right.
Okay.
I think I sent it as a press release versus an actual public notice. Just
Yeah, it's a press release.
yeah, for this part of it, it doesn't have to be a public notice, and a lot of times the papers will run a press release for free. So that's usually why we do it as
Oh, I see.
a survey, simply to save you having to pay for one extra public notice. it will have to be an actual public notice about your public hearing in the 30-day.
Right.
So,
Okay. Good deal.
We'll try to get her to run on both weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Any other questions for Nico?
Okay.
Nico, we will definitely be in touch on these other two issues. Frankly, I didn't even know the problem existed, so I'm glad that we talked about this today. And we'll get started on it right away.
not a problem. Yeah, I didn't know it existed actually until I was working on Harrisville Township's recreation
Yeah.
plan. And I couldn't find a grant that they had for the park. Wondered why.
Okay. All right, Nico. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You have a good day.
I don't think we did make any official statements about this today with the two
No.
parks, but definitely starting with the commissioners for those areas, we start looking at that situation. All right, so Parks and Rec is done. Next item on unfinished business is the postage machine. So let Stephanie speak to that.
Yeah, I did talk to John and we did review, the quotes that were submitted from Pitney Bowes and versus what we had been paying, and it has gone down considerably. He did have some quotes in regard to lease versus rental that did come close, but being our office is the one that they're all gonna come to for they have questions on the postage machine and we're familiar with it. Accounts are already set up. This is basically just extending another 5-year lease with the same company at a lower rate with a brand new machine. And there was one upside to John's quotes. His would weigh up to a 15-pound scale. Ours is only 5. The new machine will also only be 5. We don't have a whole lot of packages that are over that. And currently what we do is we take it to the post office, weigh it, come back here and print the sticker in the amount that they tell us that it is. We only have a couple a year that we might have to do
Okay.
that for, but maybe 5 years down the line, we'll upgrade if we have a lot of large packages going out. But at this point, it's a extended lease basically at about a savings of about $30 a month with a brand new machine.
Nice. Do we need board action on this?
To approve the lease for.
Approve the lease?
20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, would anybody be willing to make a motion to approve the lease?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
And authorize chair to sign?
I do see that Patty had signed the last one, so
Oh, okay.
I'm authorizing myself to sign.
Okay. Excellent. Moved and seconded. Any further comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Brumman,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, on to new business. We'll do the claims.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between February the 3rd, 2021 to February the 16th, 2021 for check numbers 143157 to 143313 and e-check numbers 1502 to 1513 for a grand total of $466,993.70.
Support.
Moved and supported.
What is this motion?
That was
Yeah.
in the minutes. That was up front. That was supposed to be on the minutes up front. Don't worry.
It was corrected, I think.
It was correct.
I just found it too. Okay,
Very good.
excellent. All right, moved and
Thank you.
supported. Roll call.
Brady,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
Next item you'll find. Oh, no, we won't. Okay, so next item is Grant Oversight Committee creation. Working with a few offices in the building as a member of the Finance Committee. One glaring thing that comes out that is hard for us to find information on track is all the different grants that we have through the county. I'm not saying anybody who has a grant isn't doing a great job independently and on their own, but all the reporting and all the information is not making it to the different places it needs to go. Therefore, I was thinking, and this is just one commissioner thinking this, if nobody else wants to go ahead with some of this. We could create a 2-person committee to oversee the grants. Now, the first part would be the hardest because you got to gather everything up, make sure all the information is there. But I think once that happens, you're just managing current and doing new grants. So,
Well, if I may, I think one of the things before you're asked to sign, any grant that you're asked to sign,
right,
that comes before the board, all of that information's got to be there before you sign it.
that's true and correct. Yes,
Should.
Yes.
It's not necessarily now, but it, and that will help a little bit.
That will help give awareness, but I guess at the end of the day, for me, I don't know of a place I can walk to right now and find every grant that we have in this building
You can't.
with all the information.
I don't think you can.
I propose, for me, it would be best if we had it on the server, so anybody with authorization can go in there and look at all the paperwork and documentation. Anyway, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm looking for a couple volunteers to do a grant oversight committee.
Is this just something you're gonna create through the chairman's committee type
Well,
thing?
I would like everyone to agree that, we need this.
Mhm.
So I would first have a motion that we need to even create the committee. If I can get somebody, I'll make the motion.
Do we even need a motion?
Well,
I guess the first question.
Well, the thing is this, I don't want to make a unilateral decision for all 5 of us because I just don't want to do that. I would rather that everybody here is on the same page, or 3 out of 5 are on the same page that we should have this committee, right?
I sent Adam, when he first brought this out, and I have argued this point for possibly 3 years, that we needed, I don't know that I was terming it a grant oversight committee, but I have proposed for at least 3 years that there is an individual or 2 on the Board of Commissioners that will be aware of and have a listing of and have all the information, the pertinent information, when it's coming in, the method it's coming in, the dates it's expected, the term, when it began, when it ends, if there's any particular one that, like I was aware, had to be COVID related. Those kinds of things, I've advocated for that for some years, and I strongly support Adam on bringing this forward at this time. I think we need it.
Is that a motion?
I was gonna say, he's made a motion to me. I'll second if you don't second.
I just think it needs to happen, whether we do it by motion or.
So the motion is to create the committee, not to populate it. It's just to create, because I don't think I'm not, okay, so I'm gonna stick with that for now. So, motion and a second to create a grant oversight committee for the Board of Commissioners is on the table.
I'll support it.
Any further comments? How about a roll call?
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Rummage,
Yes,
Thompson,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said, I don't think it's a big fire hurry to get people on that committee today, but if you could think about it,
Bring it up next.
and if you, next or the after.
Well, I
but,
think Carolyn's done a lot of thinking about it. I think Carolyn's the ideal person for it myself.
Right. Well, I
well,
mean,
he and I've talked about this, and he has other thoughts, and I respect those. And,
no, that's why I think there's 2 instead of 1.
well, whatever.
But
We have what we need to move forward.
Okay.
right. But give it some thought. I think it's a good opportunity for anybody on the board that feels like they don't know how grants work or what we even have. It's a good opportunity to get up to speed on that. So I know I've learned a lot in the last 3 months about grants. And that is that. So the next one, okay, here's another big deal. Chart of accounts conversion. Can you, if you wouldn't mind, Cheryl, can you give a little background of what this is?
State of, excuse me, the state of Michigan puts out our chart of accounts that we're required to follow per gas fee for the laws for us to follow. They set the guidelines for what the chart of accounts is. And that is all the revenues and the expenditures, all these lovely line items that we're struggling with on a daily basis to get in the right departments. They have revamped that system. It was put out to the townships, and it's a universal system now, what they're moving towards, and the deadlines. It was implemented back in, I believe, it started in 18 with the conversion for some townships. It moved on to 19. There were some issues because different things weren't jiving, so they went in and asked for input from the counties and the state and the local units. And so they've come up with a new chart of account. There was a draft, and then that was supposed to be implemented at a certain deadline. And they had extended that deadline because for whatever reason, and now then COVID hit, and so they have now extended the deadline. It's been almost a 2 to 3 year process of extensions, and we now have to have this implemented on there. The latest update was depending on when your fiscal year ends, because we have January to December. Ours is the end of this, I believe it's the end of 2021. Should be implemented no later than sometime in 2022. We have no choice. We have to have this, and that means everyone that looks at any financial record for any municipality in the state, if you see the number, I'll use 402 for example, that would be the current tax year collection. So any municipality is supposed to have that. We're all going to be, so if you see an electric bill, you know it's going to come out of this line item, so you're familiar with it's consistent throughout the whole state. So we have our own little system that's come about.
Is implementation statewide all at once? It's not going local or county or by districts or anything like region. It's just
Based on
statewide,
fiscal
everything.
year.
Okay.
So your fiscal year end would be determined when the implementation,
So
is-
township,
depending
depending on what they're, okay.
like Greenbush is on April through March. We're on January through December, and there's some, the state obviously is
September, Phil.
year end.
So as you can, go ahead.
Will this mean that we're going to have to change a lot of the numbers that we previously exist right now?
Yes,
So that
Yeah.
the 400 number would be the same for number 100 at the township level and at the state level and the county, it would all, 400 would be 400 across the board.
correct.
So of those three I just mentioned, they could be 200s and 300s and 5, but they all got to change over to the 400 row. And is that what this committee is in the process or would be in the process of helping with?
Helping with, yeah, not necessarily,
with helping.
not, well, you can perform some of the task as in, you could get a report from Cheryl
Mhm.
or Stephanie that says, here's all of the line items concerned with health insurance. And then you would take the state guidelines. it has-
7/16.
Okay.
Right. So I was saying
Yeah.
is, so you can just imagine for the public, it's kind of a big undertaking because the system at Alcona County, where it's good for us, but it's evolved over however many years we've been here, it doesn't necessarily follow the state standards. So after learning about this,
The caveat, we are not in bad shape,
Right,
according to our auditors.
Right.
But there are some that do need,
right.
just saying.
So
How many are we talking about here? Can you give me
Oh, hundreds.
hundreds?
Hundreds.
but you have close to 1,000 numbers.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking about half of it has to be
No, I have
changed?
no, that, I can't tell you that because I don't know
Okay.
at this time.
yeah, and I didn't ask her to have anything like that prepared. So
Okay.
I'm just curious.
So this would be more of I wouldn't say a check and balance, but it would be if we were receiving, we would have in front of us two sets of numbers, the new numbers that is just created and our existing numbers, and whoever is on this committee would then verify that either A, it needs to be changed. For example, the part of the insurance would say it should be a certain number and just highlight it, and then it would be passed around to be changed, or would it be changed by the individual on the committees?
Well, the first, Carolyn, go ahead.
Go ahead, answer his question.
Well, the first step is to create the committee. The second step, the committee meets with the departments involved to make this change. And then the plan is made then of who does what.
Okay.
The
You know what I'm
change is
saying?
not made by the department. The
No.
identification of the incorrect number
Yeah.
might be done by the department, but
Right.
the change would never be done by the department.
Right, because we're gonna have to vote at the end. You're gonna have to come up with this big pile of documents to say to vote, because we're gonna have to vote ultimately to make the change.
I don't think so.
I would,
I would say
I-
you start changing numbers, then you're gonna have to come in and say,
well,
We
I'll
agree
put it
to it.
this way.
No, you're doing it at the direction of the state
Right.
treasury's office.
Well, put it this
You
way.
don't have
That's something,
choice.
that's something that the committee can find out
Yeah.
if we
Right,
do
I mean-
have to do that.
We can talk about this all we want. The whole purpose of this is to get a committee together to start the planning process. So when,
I'll make a motion to have
You know.
a committee created to move forward with the chart of account conversion.
I'll second.
Moved and supported. And it might not be a forever committee,
Oh, it wouldn't be.
you know,
No.
but go ahead.
I think there is some very definite merit to this being tucked into the finance committee. And my reason for saying that is, you look, for instance, you go through, okay, let's take the board of commissioners, office supplies, 101, 101, 727, 000. Now, you look at your new chart of accounts, and let's say they're not going to use 727, they're going to use 743. One of the places where we really do have some issues, if you look at them, we have a number of, right now, 941 is contingency. It's not in all of the funds or all of the activities. How long have I been hollering over that? But those numbers, we do have some errors of that nature. But
Yeah, you're right.
But I think there is some merit because finance looks at those a couple times a week. You're looking at the bill, you look at what fund it's coming or what line item it's coming out of, and you're seeing tires. Well, you recognize, wait a minute, that's the electric line. Why are they taking something out of their electric line item when it's tires or mechanical or who knows what? Or maybe they're taking it, now here's one that's happened a lot. The electric's coming out of the correct numerical line item. It's just coming out of the wrong fund. And those things need to also be identified. Now, that error, I think, has been corrected now, but
Well, I understand what you're saying, but that is not the function of the conversion. That, yeah,
that is.
finance does need to track and should be tracking those items. I don't think finance should be excluded from the process at all because.
I would agree.
I think the
Because it's, but to drive the process to make sure it gets done, it would be good to have, and especially, so more, like I said again, finance has a pretty good insight on how the budget works. Personnel, not you, you've been here for a long time. What I'm just saying is, there's some personnel, Bill and Terry might have some.
Understate, doesn't he?
Might have some, benefit to getting into this process so they can have more knowledge of how the things work. I can tell you from personal experience, my first year as a commissioner, basically useless. I mean, you have to learn a lot of things. No, you have to learn a lot of things because the commissioners for Alcona County are not just come in handed 5 options to vote on at the next meeting. You have to create your 5 options to vote on. And in order to do that, you have to know a little bit about the clerk's job, a little bit about the treasurer's job, and a little bit about being a sheriff. So it makes it unique to us,
Yeah.
right?
The committee would be a helpful to both the finance and the board in general. Whereas more eyes on the same topic, particularly if we focus on the change from, I mean, that is the main focus, is changing the numbers that we use to match the new state requirements. And once we get to that point, then if there are other items that show up while we're changing numbers, be it the wrong account, be it the pulling from the wrong source and so forth, those can be highlighted and corrected as we go through. But I think it makes sense to have extra eyes in this particular thing if it's going to be mandated to some degree by the state. And the quicker we get eyes on it, I think we'll be ahead of the game.
It emphasizes that we are trying to get it done properly.
Well, I had shared with Adam that I think both of these committees are very worthwhile and are overdue. And I support them both. And if he so chooses, I will work on either or both because they need to be done. And I'm thrilled that we're addressing it.
Days, weeks.
Weeks.
It's an investment, yeah.
Okay.
BSNA has a conversion and they have done this with other municipalities and counties, and they have the information. We have the initial, when this started, I have the initial conversion from 2019. It was spreadsheets upon spreadsheets, and that was obviously set aside because we needed a more conjoined effort to do it, something like what you're doing now. So it's basically, they have the tools available for us and they're ready to do it whenever we choose to do it. It's just going to be a little bit of insight from more than one set of eyes to get this implemented and completed.
It would be a check and balance, I mean, against everything once BSNA does the conversion itself, just verify that it's coming out correct.
Yep. And
Carol.
so doing that before we actually implement would be beneficial because when we switch
Right.
from contract to
That was
BSNA,
what I wanted.
Were there some?
It doesn't do any good if we have a conversion table and we're already wrong.
Right.
So they're absolutely correct. That's got to be done.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
those are things, that's what I appreciate you taking the time to put this together because it is something that I feel will be beneficial in the end and make a much more transparent budget and just information for people a lot clearer, that you don't have to look for 941-20-022 and you'll know that this line is this line and it'll be consistent with everyone else in the state. So I really feel like it's a good change. It's just going to be quite an undertaking, but you know, considering by two people, it's overwhelming. But with a few more hands in there that might be able to do some oversight and problem solving and seeing things, I think it'll be make it a lot easier.
Well, ultimately, it's a board effort, but two people can keep tabs on, everything else, It's like, we're all the budget committee, right?
Absolutely.
I've been told that since the day I started here. We're all the budget
To
committee.
get familiar with the different line items as you go through and you're looking for the change. I mean, you're right, the budget it's like a mystery to some degree as far as what goes where and who covers what and what 6-digit numbers are and so forth. So, yeah. The only one I know that can rattle them off without them.
All right. Any more comment, concerns?
Nope.
Hearing none. Let's do a roll call.
Thompson,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Brady.
Yes. Thank you for entertaining me. And like I said,
thank you for bringing it forward.
throw your hat in the ring. Carolyn has already volunteered for both, so good.
But I agree with Adam that there's merit to, if you don't know some of those numbers and things, there's merit to you dealing with them, so you do become familiar with them.
Absolutely. And I'll say it again. It takes a long time. A 2-year term for a commissioner is not fair to that person in Alcona County for sure. At the end of your second year, you're just starting to figure out what's going on. So, well, maybe I'm just a slow learner, but that's how I felt. Moving on. we need to talk about the building closure. I know, so Carolyn, would you like to speak to this?
Currently, we said that we would remain in the closed manner that we are right now, where you bring stuff and drop it in the boxes, make a phone call, do an email, or if you really, really need to see someone face to face, for whatever reason, you can call, make an appointment with that department. If you were to do that, you come to the door at the time of your appointment. We'll say at 3 o'clock, you come, someone from that department will meet you at the door. They will sign you in. They will ask the health questions, do the temperature, and then you will go directly, the citizen will go directly to that office. When they're done, someone from that office walks them back out to the door and they exit. It seems to be working probably about as well as anything can, with the least amount of time and money being spent with hiring somebody to stand there at the door. Having said that, back in, I don't even remember when, we said that we would continue that practice through March 5th, Friday, March 5th. That allowed us to address it at this meeting or the Wednesday, March 3rd meeting.
I have two questions on it.
Go ahead.
One is, have we any negative results come forth from having the basically building locked down? I haven't heard any complaints.
I think there's been some occasional frustration.
Frustration, but I mean, you know, someone that was really irate or phone calls or anything saying, why aren't you open? You have had some?
I was gonna say,
Yes.
didn't you say you were knocking, people were
On a
knocking on your
daily
window?
basis still.
They're
but-
still knocking on the window and so forth?
We haven't had any window knockers, but just wall knockers.
Because if,
Main entrance.
but my other question is that at this point, to my knowledge, the state still says 10 people.
Well, and they say April 12th too. My OSHA
Right.
says April 12th.
So that's where I'm coming from. Until they really open the policies where we're free to roll, I'm suggesting we stay closed until.
I would like to suggest that we remain in the status quo through April 9th. That will allow us, if there's a change, it will allow us to address it on April 7th. And then hopefully they will have modified their position. And maybe on the 7th of April, we can vote to do whatever.
And if we hear anything different in between, I mean, they
can
are
always,
opening some of the restaurants and so forth. And if something moves further, faster, we can always, at the next meeting even, change it.
Sure.
That's all.
The 3rd or the 17th, we could always do something
You
different.
want to call that a motion? Oh, wait, let's go ahead.
Have you, the impetus for your closure information was through the courts. Have you heard an update from the courts in regards to their status and where they are?
All I've heard is that they're still working on that. They have not.
They're still in phase.
It's gonna come down
Number
from the
two, I
government.
think.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
where that was the big, that
Yeah.
was kind of a big issue that,
And when we did open back up and they stayed in that phase behind us, they closed off their end of the hallway, so.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about something else.
oh, no,
I'm
that was
sorry.
just that was a consideration in the past too, the level of where the courts were, and I just didn't know if you had talked to them. Sorry.
I haven't spoken with the court system, what level they're at, but so I'll make a motion.
She's already made one.
Nah, she made a suggestion,
Oh,
but I'll make a motion that we stay in the same status as we are now for building closure until April 9th, you said?
Well, yes.
I'll support.
Moved and supported.
But
well, just for discussion,
Yeah.
if something changes and by March 17th,
We could change it
it
anytime.
can change.
Right.
We're not set in stone April 9th.
These are just precautionary things.
It keeps us from having to review it every single week.
Well, I
every
understand
single
that. I understand that. But,
meeting.
and I think if.
Oh, Jennifer's actually on the line.
oh, that-
Jennifer, would you care to comment on the court status for the
Sure.
closure?
We just moved into phase 2. It doesn't really look very different other than what nature of staff travel does. So we're still limited to Zoom meetings, Zoom hearings, the occasional up to 10 people in the courtroom. We did get permission from the health department to conduct jury trials, and we had to put together a local administrative order in order to do that. I can share, that's kind of a complicated issue on how that's going to look. So I can share that with you when you're not in a full board meeting to the judicial committee if they'd like to hear how that's supposed to look. I can tell you that jury selection itself will take place at the high school. But we're not positive for sure yet if those trials are going to go. We have a cutoff date here coming up. But right now we're still, for all sense and purposes, it looks like we're still in the same kind of situation that we've been in for the last couple of months.
So this won't affect, so today's decision to keep the status quo won't affect your system
No, it will not.
at this time. Okay.
No.
And when you do encounter a change that does or will affect it, you'd let us know right away.
Absolutely. I would think that phase 3, if we could get back to phase 3, where we're going to, one thing about phase 2 is we are going to resume some staff back that has been working more remotely, but we're going to start phasing them back into the office more full time again. Whereas right now we're supposed to be keeping them remote. So once we hit phase 3, we'll start having what looks like full staffing in place again all the time. So that would be also more receptive if the building were open full time again.
Okay, very good. Thanks for listening in.
For sure.
So we have a motion, a second. Any other comment? Hearing none, let's have a roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes,
Gothier,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. Motion passed.
April 7th.
Next item.
Publish that,
Uh,
publishing that to continue.
should we put it in the paper or should we? Well, do we publish it in the paper last time on the dates?
Yes.
Yeah, then
Yeah,
we
we
have
did.
to publish it on the website and the paper. Do we need a separate motion? No, yes. I'm gonna say no.
No.
Publish. Next item, 2020, well, the audit contract for 2020, for the 2020 budget. I don't know how to say it, but anyway.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the contract and authorize the chairman to sign.
I'll second that.
Is there any changes in the financing or
Cost.
cost? None? Very good.
Moved and seconded. Any further comment? Roll call, please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier,
Yes.
Brumman.
yes.
Next item.
May I,
Oh, yeah, please.
one, just an FYI. Cheryl has heard this many, many, many times. On the second to last page, page 5, under engagement, administration fees and other. If you go down to about 2/3 down, the paragraph that begins with because there are,
Mhm. Inherited difficulties?
you will see there is an 18-month performance there. That's very, very critical. And when I'm not here, please make sure it is in your contract.
Mm.
And here's the logic to it. The audit will say they're done in April. They bring it back to us in April, the audit firm, whomever the audit firm is. And your contract says 12 months. So we'll say for the 2018 year, your audit was done and presented to you in April of 2019. Okay. Then you decide to change auditors. And in 2019, for the year 2018, you have new auditors. And they find some things that seem not quite
kosher.
cricket. Yeah, not kosher. If you have 12 months, you have to find that before April.
Right.
If you have 18 months, you've got some breathing room.
Right.
Please, 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 always make sure you got breathing room.
Put the Carolyn clause in there, is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
Put in the Carolyn clause?
call what you want to. There isn't an entity that where I vote out of one of these that I don't have it changed.
But it is the Carolyn clause.
Well, I don't care what you call
You can
it.
go out of here with that.
No, it's called the protection of the entity that you're dealing with.
Carolyn, you should be on.
Clause.
All right, the
Thank you.
next item, you're welcome. The next item is I have received, it's a MOOG, MMOOG.
Speaking of grants,
Yeah, speaking of grant between the state of Michigan, Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, and Alcona County is our marijuana regulation agency grant. $7,478.70. I received notification I can digitally sign this, but I need to get approval from
I
the
so
board.
move to
Second.
approve the department, the grant between the state of Michigan and the county, and authorize chair to sign.
Okay. I sent you both copy this, right?
I got it in my,
In your package, but did I email you?
Yeah, I put it up,
Did I include you? Oh, maybe I didn't, Cheryl. I apologize for that.
Did you hear my second?
Moved and
Yes, I did.
seconded. Any further discussion?
This is a repeat similar to last year, I understand.
Yes.
Correct. No further comments? We'll have a roll call.
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Drummond,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Do it for new business. We still do have, we'll move on here. Finance report.
Wait,
Oh, go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt, but, because I messed up the agenda, I apologize for that. I got the truth and taxation hearing that was actually scheduled at 1:30. Is where I confused it with the 4 o'clock mitigation plan.
Troy's gonna be here at 4.
Pardon?
Troy's gonna do it at 4.
Okay, it was published in the paper correctly for 1:30.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
it was.
Yes, I just didn't have it correct on the agenda,
oh,
but it was posted and published correctly.
Well, Troy's been tied up with treasure, so he said 4 o'clock works for him. so.
Okay,
but then we, I think perhaps need to have a motion to move the originally scheduled truth and taxation hearing to 3:45
Go ahead and make
PM
that.
today.
You're making that motion, right?
Yeah.
Second.
I mean, if we advertise the other, we need to follow through on it.
So that would cover if anybody showed up to be part of that hearing, to now
2 hours
notify them that
an
it's
hour
going
ago,
to
yeah.
be later. We're not violating any
No.
meeting act stuff by saying, okay.
Well, I have an issue with having notified it once and not having taken that action at 1 o'clock. I didn't know, or 1:30. I did not know that. I'm sorry. I was not aware of that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to move the truth and taxation hearing to 3:45 PM. Roll call, please.
Brumman,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Gothier.
Yes.
Okay. Finance report. Anything?
I mean, we had another finance meeting this morning. Everything's moving right along. Still have a few things to clean up on 2020 and started talking about 2021. Met with Trina regarding MERS and retirement and insurance and all that. And we're getting all those figures together. So when we hit 21, we'll be able to readjust our budget accordingly to what our new costs are for 2021. And that's what we had on, that's what we did this morning on finance.
Right.
Okay. Another thing on finance, Adam and I have met and I received a communication from Doug Cheek, who is the chairman of our EDC committee. And they're asking that they feel strongly that they should be part of the Alcona County Chamber of Commerce. They think it's important that they're, as a committee, get involved with the Chamber of Commerce and help move Alcona County forward. They would like to join the Chamber of Commerce. It's $120 annually.
Funny. I thought it
for
was
dues,
100.
It was only
120.
What they said.
And Adam and I have talked about it, and we have the situation regarding the Chamber of Commerce on past due monies
Remember what I did.
owed to us, and we feel from finance that we'd like to see if we can't research where we could not get.
We were working on that
Well,
one.
that's
You're
on the
working on it.
We
table
have
right now.
A temporary plan. We met and they're supplying us with some information we asked for. And once that comes back, we will review it. And there's been preliminary numbers floating around between us that we will bring to the board as a, through the committee type thing, so that you'll be aware of it. And part of, one stage of it would be a
Forgiveness.
of what we would
A
owe
part of it,
them
yeah.
for even the county participation.
Right.
There's $120 for the county to be a member, would be $120 there.
Right.
That could be added into the formula to help them maintain 2020 and still receive some funds, because we budgeted with that much money coming in originally in the beginning of 2020. There was a rent that was coming
Well,
due.
I mean, they basically, yeah.
They haven't paid because they pay at the end of each year, and they haven't paid, so we've lost X amount of dollars.
Right.
What we're trying to do is save faith on both sides, gain some, and then also get help for them.
Well, I can just tell you from Adam and I as finance, okay.
Now, my question would be, are they advocating that we need to have 2 memberships?
No, but from finance, I think Adam and I have talked about that. It would be nice that our EDC committee and the Board of Commissioners get memberships to the chamber for X amount of years, using up the funds that are due to us.
Mhm.
We
That's what
already are members,
Okay.
according to them. We already are members.
I didn't know that.
So,
Okay.
It would be
so
continuation.
is it just a
I've
continuation?
never seen.
Or would it be EDC separated from the county?
I think it'd be
We have
separate.
not.
You're talking about a single membership.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what we,
So-
we didn't know that you guys were already talking about.
So the counties have got a pro bono seat to the table?
Not right now.
There-
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah.
I guess we haven't
The
got.
way I understood it was that we pay. I understood the way he talked, we're members.
We're paid up
members.
members.
Yeah, so
I've never, okay, well,
I guess I've never seen a
we
bill.
don't have to hash it out right now, but I've never seen the line item that came out of.
If you looked at 344 or 244,
Oh, Harbor Town's paying it then?
no. EDC is paying it.
That's all right. We'll,
It's 344,
We'll work it out
345,
and-
or
we'll,
244.
yeah, we'll hash out details later.
So anyway, we need, but they would like to be a member of the chamber, so.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I have for finance, so.
I think it's appropriate to say, yes, absolutely, we'll work the details out.
Okay, personnel report.
We handed out to you the new, slightly improved donation of time. There are no major changes in it. It just kind of is updated, and unless there's a question on it,
Has this been used very much?
yes,
Really?
not a lot,
Yeah.
just every once in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I just never knew about it.
We actually have 2 that have just been submitted,
Oh,
and we approved them.
no, I mean, it's a nice thing if somebody wants to do it.
It's a good benefit. It really is.
Mhm. So we need to approve this form or no?
No,
Well,
Not
just
according
making
to
us aware.
Chairman. I like his approach.
No. She brought it for everyone to review. In the event that somebody may have an issue, it can bring it up
Exactly.
in order
If
to.
you have a problem, let Terry and I know, and we will we'll address it and consider changes.
Anything else personnel?
I was gonna say,
What,
we've been meeting with, we have had a meeting with the
Union.
union.
okay, so that's
One meeting.
ongoing.
We have 2 more scheduled right now.
Okay, all right.
That's progressing.
I was going to ask. I'm glad you brought it up. All right, so personnel, I should do for that. Treasurer's report.
Would you mind taking one and passing it down? This is just an overview of 2020. I have been working with finance and a few different departments. So if you flip it over to the back page, overall activity for the year, there are, like Dan had mentioned, there still are a few things that need to be amended and adjusted. The funds coming in, so we have expended at this point in time 212,000 more than we took in. There are revenues that are still outstanding and a few housekeeping things on some grants that were not transferred over to the general fund. After looking at some things in the different grants, such as the one you just did, the medical marijuana grant, there was a $200 county admin cost that is still sitting in the monies that were brought in from the grant that need to be moved to the general fund. Along with the Brownfield grant, there was monies that were allocated to the county for administrative purposes, but those are sitting in that fund. Those need to be brought into, and that was just kind of cleaned up with the last report with Agnes and Julie. So there's more dollars that are coming in, and those are going to be covered by the tax collection or the delinquent tax revolving fund that was reduced to cover other costs and unexpected revenues that we had come in from COVID. And there is still a few dollars that are going to be coming in from COVID, which will offset. So we're going to be pretty spot on with what we've come with revenues and expenditures with all the grants and everything that are anticipated coming in. Yes.
When you were saying that there are certain funds that were in grants that didn't get across, I'm a little concerned that was the tire grant that you guys helped out with, that it shows coming in and you paid a portion of it or the bill, and yet you didn't get refunded because the state is carrying it over for another year. Now, do I understand that those numbers will follow budget-wise over to another year, or will that cause a lot of problems?
That's not going to cause any problems because we were granted the grant for 2020.
Right.
We expended the dollars and the 1,500
right.
that we spent is anticipated from the state based on that grant. And so when you look at the 238, when you look at this revenues and expenditures, that $1,500 is going to show up in Fund 238. And it's going to show that we got it because we were granted it.
Right.
What you're going to see on the balance sheet is a due from the state of Michigan, $1,500 that's going to carry over until we get that. As soon as they give it to us in 2021, when we close out the rest of this grant, the cash is going to hit that 238 and it's going to take that receivable off.
Okay.
So it's going to show up in here for 2020.
It's not going to be a big issue for you guys as well.
No, not at all.
That's where I came to a screeching halt.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a different, the contract for 2021, $750 was allocated last year.
Which hasn't been drawn out to my knowledge.
Correct.
I need to put in a request to pull that out. And then another 750 was for 2021 to finish off the full.
So what she's at, I guess,
right, like this was going to be the bill. Yes, correct. And then it was like, couldn't get a firm answer if 750 was still sitting in there from 2020.
All right, I'll sit with you and hopefully.
So I still
have
have this, just
yep.
so, okay.
There's a contract for the cleanup that is allocated. Instead of putting 1,500 in 1 year, 0 in another year, they do 750 and 750. And so when this comes due, because it's every other year, if you approve it for the cleanup, then there's a check or $1,500 that is available for countywide cleanup.
For sure.
Is that correct? So it says it's payable at the time of signing this contract.
A long time ago it was, I mean, that part was automatic, but then when we went to 2 years terms, they felt, they being the board and everything, that it was easier to budget over the 2 years than it was, as you indicated, all at one time. So it was created, the form stayed 1 year or due at the time of closing, but the actual pay was half 1 year and half the second year that it was on. So we can work through that, and then we can change change next time's contract to say that it'll come out in 2 sections or however you want to put it together.
However, it was going to be paid. It was not there. The money's not there. I don't know typically when it comes in. I mean, I guess I could look again.
I just need to know, are you expecting a check for 1,500 or 750?
It'll be 15 because we didn't draw
Out of
2020s.
Out of 238.
Correct.
238
15.
has,
Yeah.
under 2020 has 750 showing that hasn't been drawn out. And then the new budget for
It's another
21,
750.
750, I'm sorry. And then the 21 has, again, budgeted in the beginning, and it has not been drawn out because I haven't asked for that particular one other than through the contract. So it'll be, I don't know how else to explain it at this point.
Right. It will be, but you need it paid now, ahead of time.
I need to give you the proper paperwork, I think is what you're
Okay,
asking
I'm gonna pull
for.
this out for right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, it just sounds like, I think, it's not 1,500 that's carrying over from 2020,
No.
it's 750.
750.
It's
Right.
1,500 in Fund 238.
Right, but it's 750 from 2020.
It is 750 drawn out.
No, you're
for 2
fine.
years.
Sorry. I did not lie.
And it's already been drawn out in
It's
2020.
totally gone.
It just has to be in 2021. Yeah.
It was grant monies that we're carrying over.
Okay.
That's why that got brought up.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have anything else for us, Cheryl?
So I just wanted to give you a heads up of where we were. I truly, there is this CBG, that was you, Carolyn, that money that still needs to be transferred from the Fund 282 to here. Once those are received, that will increase, a few other, like I said, a few other housekeeping things from different grants will be coming in here. So, I mean, we're looking positive after all the changes and
Right.
we're not looking like we're saving anything, but we've definitely, we'll be very close to breaking even on the revenues with the grants and the additional revenues that have come in from the delinquent tax revolving fund and not having to go into the fund balance.
That's cool. Really?
Yeah,
Within reason. I understand.
Yeah.
So this, you're saying that a good portion of this 212 is going to be wiped out.
well, we have, yeah, right now, 188 is covered by the,
Oh, that's
The
fantastic.
tax
It
collection
is.
fund. So-
No, we're taking 188 from the tax collection fund.
Correct.
So you still have a
Yeah,
$200,000 loss.
Right,
No, I know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
but
Right.
not dipping into the,
Fund balance.
We don't have to go into fund balance. And then,
We still
okay.
went from into a fund balance, just a
came
different
from
one.
a different fund balance.
Yeah. But did, so,
It originally started at over 400,000.
Right.
oh, right. So yeah, we've done, I mean,
We've had,
thanks COVID, I guess, for some of these savings, right? But, that's not a very appropriate thing to say. But, and I know you don't have this information in front of you or asked to even prepare it, but so this dip into the DTRF, could you estimate that, did we affect that fund? Did it make enough to cover this year so we could stay stable in that fund, or did we deplete it by that?
DTRF?
Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
Okay. So,
It was budgeted that way.
right. Okay.
I don't have, I will give you another report in April when I
Yeah.
don't know
When you have all
how
the funds.
the collections have been for this
Right.
year. We seem to be on task with maybe a little bit lower from some townships.
Yeah.
But we've been on par for collections.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
A little higher for not as many. We have a lot more in forfeiture
Yeah.
today than we had last year. Probably to the tune of about 30 or 40 more than we had last year at this time. And we're hoping and working with people to get that taken care of. But
Well, the three of us are here. Last year's board left some pretty big shoes to fill. to maintain and keep this going. So let's go that way.
And I will have a more comprehensive, once I get those actions done, to let the board know where the different grants, because we'll have to identify the grants and things that came in for COVID. So we'll have a better idea once I can do that analysis on these for the grant, the COVID grants that came in, other grants, and dollars that we brought in otherwise.
Okay.
Other than that, if anybody has any questions, there are still a few minor bills coming in for prior year. They're minor and there's not a whole lot going on in there that I see outstanding. There's only been a few. I have one list of maybe 5 bills to take care of to accrue back. And other than that, like I said, we're getting there. We're getting to the bottom, the end, and you're gonna schedule the audit. I'm hoping sometime
I was
mid-April.
waiting for you to tell me what dates you'd like to be. Mid-April? Maybe you already did. You already did. I will send an email as soon as we're done here. All right. You got anything for us, Stephanie, for a clerk's report?
I do have a couple of things. I received a couple of communications after the agenda was created. One was an email I had received. It kind of got pushed down in my emails a little bit, but Dan O'Connor sent an email requesting if the board was interested that he could do a virtual update on the school. So if you'd like him to set that up, just let me know and I can respond back.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing to hear.
Yeah, okay, I can do that. The other one, I'll hand this out to you when we're done. It was the Charter Township of Oscoda. It's their amended and restated community master plan. I'll hand that out to you guys. And then also there was one that was received from Riverside Energy of Michigan. And it was an invite, and it's in regard to the natural gas pipelines. They have like a bunch of 4 or 5 dates with Zoom meetings if you guys want to attend that, and I'll get you that as well.
Running new gas lines?
Natural gas.
They took
pipelines.
over ones that they're the new company.
Oh,
That probably.
I didn't think that sounded familiar. I
No,
heard it.
it's new.
So I'll get
another
also-
reorganization. Gas company.
Other than that, today is Kim's official last day before she goes down to the front of the court. And we kind of reviewed an after payroll processing this morning, and we have applicants still coming in, and I'll see where I'm at Friday with that. So
Today's her last day or tomorrow?
today,
Today? Oh, I thought it was tomorrow.
yeah, she's gonna.
Oh, shoot.
Cake.
She's just around the corner.
Jane
and,
Gold.
He's in the same
not going,
building.
she was only-
But she's under different funding, so.
She's offered a very helping hand, which is some wouldn't do that and don't have to do that, but she is willing and to be helpful and help out however she can. She doesn't want to just walk away. She said it was bittersweet, but can't blame her.
Good.
Other than that, I think that's all I have. Oh, I lied. Speaking of EDC and grants and Dan. Here's a check.
Money?
Oh,
Damn.
COVID survival grant. Oh, Marlena, this is that COVID survival grant?
More grants to track.
I think Carolyn knows.
Pass it down to her.
Okay, if that's it for the clerk's report, we've had several communications from other counties. Do we need to talk about 211?
I have a little tiny bit.
You're gonna cover it in your commissioner
little
comments?
bit.
Okay.
I would like, before we get to 4 o'clock or anything else, I would like to be able to take a few minutes to go over the hazard mitigation
Sure.
for awareness. So that when we get to 4 o'clock, that you've got a little bit of background on it.
Okay. You wanna do that right now?
I can,
Let's do it right now.
okay. hazard mitigation is a opportunity for a county or an entity to determine what they should be most concerned about and what they should be most prepared for. We don't really need to worry about an earthquake, probably. I know we've had one that went through here, but it was a long time ago, etc. We might need to worry about snow and power outages or anything else. If you look at the top page, on the left-hand side going down, you will see what the, for instance, that first one is to maintain an outreach program for vulnerable populations. That was identified as one of the things we should have concern over. The priority in the next column was high. Then if you look in the next set of columns, it was determined that the County Emergency Management Office should have concern and be responsible to some degree, as should local government, local fire departments, district health, Salvation Army, civic groups and churches. Those are all the entities that need to perhaps be involved in that step. In the orange box, it talks about multi-hazard mitigations. If you go back 6 pages are all multi-hazard mitigations, and you'll see there's a total of 25. Number 23 on the top of that last page that has the orange on it, you'll see individual communities should prepare future land use plans and capital improvement. The priority, as determined by the 12 to 15 people that were sitting at the table, the priority was determined to be low. And then you look to see, well, who should be, even though it's a low priority, and you see that, again, that group assembled believed it would be local government and county road commission. Those were the two, well, oh, I'm sorry. And then the county and then local governments. You move on to the next part, and it's winter weather hazards. There are only 4 there. Then you go into wildfire. There's 3 pages for wildfire. The next one is really hard to read. And I can't tell you, well, if I go to my big chart sheet, I can't. Anyway, this needs to be done, I believe it's every 5 years. And I have not heard discussion. As I said, in years past, we've always had 12 to road commissions at the table, the sheriff's department at the table, or emergency management, somebody from the board of commissioners, somebody from EMS, somebody, did I say road commission? If I did, schools, all of those entities. If it's an entity, probably ACCOA would be there. Those would be some of the entities that would be sitting at the table and say high priority, low, moderate priority, and oh, these are the entities among those probably 18 that are listed up there. These are the ones that we think should be addressing this. So that's what that hazard mitigation is all about. We're required to have this public hearing. And there's another public hearing, I believe, after we determine the results of it, after it's developed, and then it moves on, and then it goes on the shelf for another 5 years. It really shouldn't go on the shelf. I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean, I think. So, and I have one that's a little more legible, but somehow using the larger paper and all that, I just, and you can barely see on the far right-hand side, you have the application progress, if any, what was happening in 2005 and then 2014. So I just wanted to give you a chance before Christina begins talking about it. I wanted to have you have a little bit of awareness if you didn't know. So, any questions? No.
All right. Let's do some committee reports. Anybody have anything about their committees they're on?
I have one. I attended the veterans meeting yesterday. He is going on medical leave for a month, starting the 23rd, and I'm not sure, I think it's a month returning, so, but he's having, yeah, I guess I can say it, hip replacement, so he's gonna be working from home for a while till he's up and moving better.
Okay.
He does have a plan in place to continue the work forward, so.
Okay.
Very active group.
I did hear at the last township meeting I went to that they're going to pay for all the flags for the cemeteries for the
That's my
veterans.
understanding, yes.
This township submits their paid invoice and they'll get reimbursed.
Yep, that's part of their millage that they receive.
Yeah, I did hear
which
that.
is correct me if I'm wrong, but the townships are mandated to have these flags. as I
Correct.
recall.
Yep.
And so, yes, they're gonna.
That offer was made, so that was an official communication at Guston anyway.
Can we use grant money for those?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just telling you what I heard at the
I think
meeting, township meeting I went to.
facetious, I'd say.
No.
I'm kind of smiling a little bit, but I can't tell through that mask sometimes. Just.
My question was,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We don't know the answer to that question. We'd have to pose
Okay,
that. directly
I just
to
wondered.
Tony. Or that,
there's been such a, over the
that board,
years, such
sure.
a discussion as to who's gonna pay for them.
oh yeah, I know. That's what
Yeah,
surprised
you
me
do
too.
know.
All right, you got anything, Dan?
They'll meet with NEMCOG tomorrow. Had a NEMSCO Zoom meeting last week. Alcona Township was budget only, so no, not really.
Okay.
We had a meeting with Harbortown and we quickly discussed, asked for some information. They're going to give it back to us. We're going to review it and move forward on some help for them. We'll include some of the things we previously talked about, the EDC. And, but they were agreed to work the indifferences out. So that was for the chamber.
Mhm.
And we're in the process of getting signs put up for the 2 rooms that are available where the chamber was, to get them on the lease. They have, the ad, I think, already went in and the signs being made to put in the window, to try to get someone in that position. And there was a memo sent out from Oscoda Worth Base, Air Force Base. Today, they're being honored by MDOT for Michigan Airport of the Year, General Aviation Airport category. And so they're getting a recognition down there for outstanding job. So it's another feather in their cap.
Carolyn.
I continue to search out. I did come up with, I didn't, but by calling and asking and harassing, got another about $9,000 that we're going to submit on the COVID grant. I've spent some time trying to get the word out on the recreational plan survey. As Bill indicated, we met with the chamber. I had a courthouse security meeting this past Tuesday, and I will be reaching out to talk to each of you in the near future regarding that. As has been mentioned, we have the new donation of leave time form, only minor changes. Oscoda Wordsmith Airport Joint Airport Zoning Board meeting held Monday. We reviewed and approved the site plan for hangar number 10. Everybody got all a glory when it was the 80,000 square foot hangar a couple of years ago. This new one is 92,000 square feet. Coletti will be starting construction probably mid-spring is the plan, and will be completed. It's listed to be completed in September. One of the things that did come up in Bill and my discussions when he and I were talking about the new space is we're looking at everything else there is renting for 70 cents a square foot per month. We're looking at renting the new room, well, it's not a new room, but the room that's been updated and everything at 80 cents a square foot. If nobody's got a problem, if you got a problem, get a hold of Bill or I. If you don't have a problem, we'll
The
proceed.
reason for that is it's the only space that has an actual roof over it, so it's sealed. It has front windows where the other ones don't. It is 2 chambers, so you can have, if a business wanted a secretary and an office, it's the only room of its kind in that building. And just by that, we thought, okay, and it's still 70 cents and 80 cents per square foot. If you go anyplace else looking for commercial businesses, you're going to pay a whole lot more than just that. So that's what we came up with.
So that's about all.
What, can you go back to the hangar information? Where do you,
I laid it in front of you, all of you.
do I have a copy of that?
Yeah.
It's right here.
Well, you have a copy of the hangar.
Yeah, location. Yeah.
And
Oh, Kevin forwarded you this information, okay, good.
Yeah.
I had a missed call from him yesterday.
I talked to Kevin last night,
You did?
but he had already talked to Bill and Carolyn also, but just give us an update that, on that big hangar,
Oh.
plus another one's in zoning
Okay.
and the award they just got. But
I have more on that. No,
Well,
No, I was just, because I was gonna question,
they have another lease going on, another building they're leasing and they're made for classrooms. It's another 80,000 square foot or something like this that they're gonna rent.
Another
Like
thing
this
Kevin
back,
said,
but-
that they have been, Kelowna or
I have
the
this.
airport has
Email.
been approached by the Air Force to
Yes.
put on a big deal this fall of landing all their tankers there, some big training exercise, setting up some big, whatever they call it out there, big.
KC 135s and 97, or
Yeah.
KC
Why would they
97.
use their Sundays when they have Alpena the same
I don't know.
that they use all the time?
It's
Yeah. Well, it could be
multiple
out there, should be
stations.
busy.
I'm sorry, what?
Multiple places that they'll be, it
Yeah,
could be
it might
there
be
and
multiple.
down there at the same time.
Yeah, they could be up there and down there.
So they have so many KCs that they can't put them all up in Alpena, so they want
I
to
don't
put
know.
some here?
Let's not knock it.
They want to do an exercise and have all kinds of people set up down
I
there.
would say they said 3 to 400 people
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. That
expecting.
they're gonna
just
put up a
down there.
400
staging
planes.
area there.
I thought he said
That's not
planes.
even,
I didn't even think Air Force would want to come down there with the
You're
beef
not even-
process.
Well, that's the
Well, that
problem
was, yeah,
right now.
they were talking about fire
That's the
emission.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
The foam.
Okay.
I'm not getting into that one.
Maybe.
So I know we said that 345
We could do them right now.
for Troy, but is there any reason Troy can't just do his presentation right now?
No, it's posted as 1:30 in the paper.
People are already here for 1:30 if they're gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be here.
Yeah, do it, Troy.
Be great for your appreciate.
Yeah,
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do your presentation,
there's
Troy?
nobody even there anymore.
Truth in taxation is basically, it's last year's taxable minus the losses divided by this year's taxable minus new, and you come up with a ratio, which last year would have been 0.9 whatever, but the max is 1. So I'm assuming, it would have, we had 1 last year, but it would have been 0.9833 if you guys didn't sign the truth in taxation, which brings it up to 1. So it would have rolled down, you wouldn't have got, your millage would have went down.
Okay.
So that's what the truth in taxation is, the max is 1. But if you don't have the truth in taxation, if there's a rollback, then it goes down. I'm assuming you want it at 1. They can
Yes.
Tell
Right.
you what to do.
Right,
I
right.
highly recommend you sign that and let's keep it at.
Sign
1.
what, though? I don't see anything.
I gave it. There it is. Gave it to.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I haven't seen nothing.
Yeah, that's the truth.
It carried over from the last meeting, so it probably wasn't. in there.
Oh, okay.
So we need to make a motion to authorize our chair to sign.
Yeah.
I make a
Support.
motion. Okay.
Moved and supported. Any
And
comment?
If you really want to get into depth about it, you could come in and I'd be more than willing, but then you won't.
So does it,
First, second.
as a discussion, is it ever above 1?
No, can't go above 1.
Can't go above 1.
Yeah, the
It's
max is 1,
impossible. Okay.
just like everything. The max is one, but you can, for instance, back probably in 2006, the village didn't do their truth and taxation. So they got a rollback, and if you ever look at their millages, they're like 2.49 or 4.98. The reason it's not 5 and 2.5, because they didn't do the truth and taxation. So there was a rollback, so it went to 2.49. So we don't want that to happen here.
Right.
That's my opinion, we should have too much money. But
We don't say those words in this
yeah,
room.
they have too much. I've never heard somebody say they have too much money, but that's what it is. If you want to get into more details on it, I'd be more than willing to sit down. I mean, you won't remember it after you walk out of the
It's the
office.
same as every year, right?
It's been this way since as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, so.
Okay.
And that's it.
Hold on.
Taxation.
Yeah, so roll call.
Brumman,
Yes,
Gothier,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I guess.
We don't have our other thing until 4, but let's go ahead and, can we go ahead and get rid of, or not get rid of, sorry. Proceed with public comment. That's not what I meant to say. I apologize, everybody in the public.
I gotta go back.
So 5 minutes per person, public comment. Anybody left online would like to say some things? And like last week, I had a couple people that, for whatever reason, their microphones weren't coming into us. Go ahead and call the courthouse and ask for the chair, and I will hear your concerns and pass it on. Give you a couple seconds. It doesn't look like it. All right.
what's the number down here? 929517?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting till 4 o'clock.
Recess.
Recess.
Can adjourn. How about till 3:50?
3:50.
Okay, fine.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Got it.
Aye.
Here's your budget for 2021.